What if everything you believe about your life is wrong? What if your biggest wins, your worst heartbreaks, your most annoying frustrations, and even the people who drive you nuts weren't random at all? What if they were all just messages, reflections in a mirror showing you something hidden deep inside yourself? There's a profound truth that governs every single part of your existence, but it's one that most of us will spend our whole lives trying to ignore. Here it is. You're not living in the world. You're living in a reflection of your own mind. Every person who shows up, every situation that repeats, every frustration that feels like a ghost from your past, none of it is a coincidence. It's a mirror. Your external reality is a faithful, almost brutally honest reflection of what's happening inside you, especially the parts you don't even know exist. What if your entire life, your successes, your failures, your relationships, was all just a mirror reflecting your unconscious mind? What if you're a puppet, dancing on strings pulled by your own hidden fears and buried beliefs, and you don't even know it? As long as you keep trying to change the reflection by switching jobs, partners, or cities without ever looking at the person in the mirror, you're going to stay stuck in the same cycles, the same pains, and the same old story. But what if you could stop being the puppet and start pulling the strings? In this video, we're skipping the simple platitudes. This is a practical guide to the psychological framework that's shaping your world. We'll unpack the work of psychologist Carl Jung and explore the game-changing concepts of the persona and the shadow. We'll look at some fascinating neuroscience that hints at how our brains are wired to see the world we expect to see. And most importantly, you will get a clear, actionable method to stop being a passive observer of your life and start becoming the conscious creator of your reality. Because when you transform yourself, your world has no choice but to transform with you. Let's start with a mind-bending idea from the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, one of the pioneers of modern psychology. He proposed that our inner world, our psyche, isn't just a passive witness to our external experiences. He argued that our psyche has its own reality, and we only perceive the outside world through the images and stories that pop up in this inner space. In other words, you don't experience reality directly. You experience your perception of reality, a perception that's filtered and colored by the vast unseen parts of your own mind. Think of it like this: your life is a movie. Your unconscious mind is the director, the screenwriter, and the casting agent all rolled into one. Your conscious mind, the part you think of as you, is just the lead actor reading lines from a script it didn't write and reacting to a set it didn't build. Every single thing that happens out there is a reflection of something in here. That person who cuts you off in traffic and fills you with rage. That boss who overlooks you for a promotion, making you feel small. That partner whose habits endlessly annoy you. According to this framework, these aren't random events happening to you. They are projections happening from you. Jung believed the world is like a giant, multifaceted mirror. Each facet reflects a different part of who you are, especially the parts you deny, hide, or try to pretend aren't there. This is why some people can trigger an intense emotional reaction in you with just a look, while others can do far worse and you barely flinch. It's not about what they do, it's about what they activate inside you. They're poking at unhealed wounds and disowned parts of your personality that are lurking just below the surface. This might sound like a radical, even uncomfortable idea. It feels way easier to blame the world and see ourselves as victims of circumstance. But Jung's perspective isn't about blame, it's about empowerment. One of his most famous ideas is powerfully paraphrased as, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." To live unconsciously is to constantly react to the world instead of consciously responding to it. It's being a pinball in the machine of your own life. When you truly grasp this principle, that your external world is a reflection of your internal state, you tap into a power most people don't even know they have. The power to change your life, not by fighting the world, but by transforming yourself. This isn't magical thinking, it's deep psychology, a truth that has echoed in wisdom traditions for thousands of years. All meaningful psychological and spiritual paths lead to the same conclusion: the change has to start within. So if our reality is a mirror, who's being reflected? To figure that out, we need to meet the two main characters who are secretly running the show, the persona and the shadow. If you want to start pulling the strings in your own life, you first have to understand the hidden forces within your psyche that are currently in control. In Jungian psychology, two of the most powerful archetypes shaping our lives are the persona and the shadow. Let's talk about the persona first. The persona is your social mask. It's the carefully curated version of yourself you show the world. It's the good employee, the caring friend, the strong leader, or the perfect parent. It's the collection of traits and behaviors you've learned are acceptable and even rewarded by your society, family, and culture. The persona isn't bad. In fact, it's a necessary tool for getting by in life. You wouldn't talk to your boss the same way you talk to your best friend, and that's probably a good thing. The problem starts when we over-identify with the mask, when we start to believe the persona is who we really are. We get so attached to the role we're playing that we forget about the actor underneath. We start chasing goals our persona wants, not what our soul actually craves. We stay in jobs or relationships that validate our mask, even if they're quietly crushing our spirit. Now, let's meet the other, more mysterious puppeteer, the shadow. The shadow is everything you've repressed, denied, or disowned about yourself. It's all the parts you've labeled as unacceptable, ugly, or not me. It's your anger, your jealousy, your laziness, your insecurity. But here's the crucial twist. The shadow also contains your hidden gold, your repressed creativity, your buried ambition, your undeveloped courage. Anything that didn't fit into the neat little box of your persona got shoved down into the darkness of the shadow. Imagine you were raised in a family where showing emotion was seen as a sign of weakness. To be accepted, you learn to suppress your feelings and wear a stoic, logical persona. But those feelings didn't just vanish, they went into the shadow. Now, as an adult, you find yourself incredibly irritated by people you see as overly emotional or dramatic. Their expressiveness feels like a flaw, a weakness. This right here is what Jung called projection. You are projecting your own disowned shadow onto someone else. The intense annoyance you feel isn't really about them. It's about the repressed, emotional part of yourself that they are mirroring back to you. Your shadow is knocking on the door of your consciousness, begging to be seen. This happens all the time. That person at work whose ambition you find ruthless, they might be mirroring your own disowned ambition that you were taught was selfish. That friend whose carefree, spontaneous nature feels irresponsible to you. They might be reflecting the playful, free-spirited part of you that you sacrificed long ago to be seen as responsible. The shadow's power is in its invisibility. As long as it stays unconscious, it runs your life from behind the scenes. It engineers your reality to force you to confront what you've denied. It draws people and situations into your life that will push your buttons precisely because those triggers are signposts pointing directly to your unintegrated shadow. The lifelong journey of becoming a whole, authentic person, what Jung called individuation, is the process of courageously turning towards these hidden parts of yourself. It's about peeling away the false layers of the persona and facing the uncomfortable truths of the shadow. It means bringing these disowned parts out of the darkness and into the light. When you own your anger, it no longer needs to show up as a rage-filled driver on the highway. When you embrace your ambition, you stop feeling threatened by the success of others. When you integrate your shadow, you reclaim all the energy you were using to push it down. You stop being a victim of the mirror, and you start understanding its messages. While Jung's ideas give us a powerful psychological map, modern neuroscience offers some fascinating clues about the biological machinery that might be involved. Now, this isn't about proving Jung right with brain scans, but about building a bridge between deep psychology and biology. Let's look at two concepts: the reticular activating system, RAS, and mirror neurons. First, your brain's personal gatekeeper, the reticular activating system, or RAS. This is a network of nerves in your brainstem that acts as the main filter for the insane amount of information your senses absorb every second. It's the bouncer at the nightclub of your mind, deciding what gets your attention and what stays outside. If you were aware of every sight, sound, and sensation around you, you'd be in a constant state of overwhelm. The RAS prevents this by filtering out what it deems irrelevant. So, what does it consider relevant? Think of its job as highlighting a few key categories: things crucial for survival, new and surprising information, and this is the important one, anything you have repeatedly focused on and tagged as significant. Your conscious thoughts and deepest beliefs act like programming instructions for your RAS. Have you ever decided you want to buy a specific car, like a blue SUV, and then suddenly you start seeing blue SUVs everywhere? There aren't more of them on the road. You simply told your RAS, hey, this is important now, so it started pointing them out. Now apply this to your beliefs about life. If you hold a deep, unconscious belief that people can't be trusted, what do you think your RAS will highlight in your day? It will meticulously filter your reality to show you every shred of evidence that confirms this belief. It will draw your attention to the gossiping coworker and the friend who lets you down. Your reality becomes a feedback loop, reinforcing your inner belief. The RAS isn't creating these events, but it's making sure they're what you notice. Next, let's turn to mirror neurons. Discovered in macaque monkeys in the 1990s, these are brain cells that fire both when we perform an action and when we see someone else perform that same action. Their exact function in humans is still a hot topic of scientific debate, but one leading theory is that they're fundamental to our ability to understand each other. By internally simulating the actions we see, our mirror neuron system might help us grasp the intentions and emotions of others. This could be why we physically wince when we see someone get hurt. While the science is far from settled, and it's an area of ongoing research, it points to a profound interconnectedness at a neural level. Some early hypotheses suggested a link between mirror neuron dysfunction and conditions like autism, but it's important to be clear. This idea is now highly contested, and many researchers question this direct link. So how does this connect to our mirror? If your outer world is a reflection, The RAS may be the mechanism that ensures you see that reflection, filtering your world to match your inner programming. Meanwhile, the mirror neuron system, with its potential role in how we relate to others, offers a possible biological reason why the reflections we see in other people have such a powerful and immediate impact on our own internal state. We are, in a very real sense, wired to be affected by the mirror. Understanding the theory is great, but knowledge without action is just trivia. The real transformation happens when you go from understanding the mirror to actively changing the reflection. This is where it gets practical. It's a 3-step process. Step 1, identify the reflections. Step 2, access the unconscious blueprint. Step 3, reprogram the mirror. Let's break them down. Step 1, identify the reflections. You can't change a pattern until you can see it. For this step, your primary tool is relentless self-awareness. Your mission is to become a detective of your own life, and your main clues are your emotional triggers. For 1 week, carry a journal or use a notes app. Become a trigger tracker. Anytime you have a strong negative emotional reaction, anger, jealousy, deep irritation, anxiety, pause and note 3 things. 1, the situation. What actually happened? Be objective. A coworker interrupted me. 2, the feeling. What specific emotion did you feel? Was it anger, or did you feel disrespected? Was it annoyance, or did you feel invisible? 3, the story. What was the immediate judgment that popped into your head? He's so arrogant. She always undermines me. No one ever listens. After a week, you'll have a collection of data. Now, look for the patterns. Is there a recurring theme? Do you constantly feel disrespected, overlooked, controlled? This recurring feeling is your entry point. This is the reflection the mirror is desperate to show you. The judgment you place on others, he's so arrogant, is almost always a projection pointing to a disowned part of your shadow. Step 2, access the unconscious blueprint. Once you've spotted a recurring reflection, the next step is to trace it back to the source, the unconscious belief that's generating it. For this, we use a process of deep, compassionate inquiry. Take one of the patterns you identified. Let's use the example of feeling constantly overlooked. Sit somewhere quiet, take a few deep breaths, and ask yourself these questions. Write down your uncensored answers. When I feel overlooked, what's the core belief I have about myself? My opinion doesn't matter. I'm invisible. Where have I felt this before in my life? Go back as far as you can. This might bring up memories from school, family dinners, or your first job. Who might have taught me this belief? A parent? A teacher? What did they believe about being seen and heard? We often inherit our beliefs unconsciously. How has this belief served me? How has it protected me? This is crucial. Maybe believing I'm not important kept you safe from criticism. Every limiting belief has a perceived payoff. This is the heart of what's often called shadow work. It's the courageous act of turning inward and talking to the parts of yourself you've exiled. You aren't judging or fixing. You are simply bringing the unconscious blueprint, the limiting belief, into the light. By seeing the belief, you start to separate from it. You realize it's not you, it's just a program you've been running. Step 3, reprogram the mirror with action. Now that you've made the unconscious conscious, you have a choice. You can keep running the old program, or you can install a new one. This is the most active step, and it combines 2 powerful techniques: scripting and acting as if. Scripting is a technique where you write about your desired reality in the present tense, as if it's already happened. It works by giving your subconscious mind and your reticular activating system a new target to focus on. Based on the limiting belief you uncovered, create its powerful positive opposite. If the old belief was, "My opinion doesn't matter," the new one is, "My voice is valuable and my perspective is needed." Now you script a scene from your life where this new belief is your reality. Don't just write, "I am confident." Write a detailed, sensory-rich story. For example, "I am so grateful and energized after today's team meeting. I remember feeling a surge of insight as the project challenges were being discussed. Instead of holding back, I felt this calm certainty as I spoke up, clearly explaining my idea. I can still feel my colleagues turning to listen, their faces showing genuine interest. My manager even said, 'That's a fantastic point. We hadn't considered that.' The feeling wasn't arrogance, it was valuable contribution. I walked out of that room feeling seen, respected, and totally aligned." Write this every morning or every night. You have to engage your emotions, feel the confidence, feel the respect. Your subconscious responds to feeling and repetition. You are literally carving new neural pathways, giving your RAS a new target. But you can't stop there. You have to bridge the inner work with outer action. This is where acting as if comes in. You must behave as the person you wish to become before the evidence appears. If your new belief is, "My voice is valuable," you can't just write about it and then stay silent. You have to take small, courageous actions that align with that new belief. The action. In the next meeting, your goal isn't to give a groundbreaking speech. Your goal is to simply state one opinion or ask one question. The embodiment. Before you speak, sit up straight, breathe deeply, speak clearly. When you combine the internal visualization of scripting with the external evidence of acting as if, you create an undeniable feedback loop to your subconscious. You are telling it, "This is who we are now." We've covered a lot of ground today. We started with the world-altering idea that your reality is a mirror of your inner world. We met the psychological puppeteers, the persona and the shadow. We even glanced at the neuroscience of the RAS and mirror neurons, the brain's filter and its social simulator. But most importantly, we moved from theory to practice. You now have a concrete 3-step method to reclaim your power. 1. Identify the reflections by becoming a detective of your triggers. 2. Access the unconscious blueprint by asking the deep questions. 3. Reprogram the mirror with scripting and acting as if. The journey of what Jung called individuation, becoming a whole conscious individual, isn't easy. It takes courage to face the parts of yourself you've denied. It takes discipline to install new habits. It means taking full responsibility for your experience of life, which is the most terrifying and liberating thing a person can do. Stop waiting for the world to change. Stop waiting for the mirror to show you a reflection you like better. The reflection only obeys the person standing in front of it. When you do the inner work, when you integrate your shadow, when you consciously choose and embody your beliefs, the mirror has no choice but to change. You may even notice that meaningful coincidences, what Jung famously called synchronicity, start to appear more often as the outer world begins to align with your new inner world in uncanny ways. You are not the puppet. You were never the puppet. You are the one holding the strings. It's time to start pulling them. Your journey starts now. Take one small step today. In the comments below, share one reflection you've been noticing in your life, one recurring frustration or pattern. Just by writing it down, you're taking the first step and bringing it into the light. Let's create a community of conscious creators together.